DC Multiverse!
So how's it going, everybody? You're probably wondering why this box is all banged up, because it is all banged up, as you can see. I could make up some kind of crazy story like it arrived in the mail that way, or something else kind of wonky, but the reality is, the cold, hard reality is I wasn't paying attention and I sat on it. That's right, I sat on it. It was on my chair and I sat on it. So that's why you've got bits hanging off of it and it's all crumpled. Anyway, today we're going to be having a little peekaroo at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Armored Batman, care of our good friends at McFarlane Toys. The sidey side says Armored Batman Kingdom Come, which gives me a lot of hope when I see the word Kingdom Come that we're going to see more characters from Kingdom Come. I'm guessing there'll be Superman, maybe Wonder Woman, The Flash, Blue Beetle. Anyway, this is the back of the box. Yep, that's the back. You know, I really like the Kingdom Come storyline. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, I highly suggest you get your hands on a copy of it and read it, because it is by far one of the greatest pieces of DC literature probably ever written. It's such a classic. I'm not going to spoil it for you, and those of you who have already read it, you don't need me to go into it. Anyhow, there's a action figure base, as usual. We've got a trading card, as usual. Same image as the back of the box, and on the back, it also has a data file. We'll stick that over here, and have a look at Batman. You're probably wondering why you're actually watching me yoink this guy out of the package. I haven't done this in a while like this, have I? Well, that's actually why I'm doing it. I wanted to do something a little bit different. It's gonna get loud for a second. Oh, and the wings are in the back. That's one and two. Flappy, flappy, flappy. I got tape stuck on my finger. I guess you just pull this out. Woo! And then we pop the wings on. The hinge just goes. And then the other one just goes like there. And now he's winged. Do I have that right? How does he close these? Are they supposed to close? I can't tell. He can't close them that way, that's for sure. Does that mean that they just stay open all the time? Unless he's like shielding himself from gunfire? Anyhow, this is everything from inside the packaging. Anyway, since we've already looked at the trading card, we'll just pull that out of the way and have a closer look at old Batsy. So I wanted to really praise McFarlane for this one, because it does very closely resemble the source material of this version of Batman. The utility belt and the heavy plated armor on his legs and also on his chest, his shoulders, these big beefy black gauntlets here on his wrists. I adore this head sculpt and the neck piece here around that gives support. I just think that Todd's done a really great job on this head sculpt and the look of the overall figure. This is really fantastically done. And I like how this big bat right here that goes completely over his chest comes all the way around to his back, and then we get this big jetpack. Not gonna lie, if you're a fan of this whole Alex Ross Kingdom Come Batman, this is a stunner. This looks fantastic. I don't really know how I feel about the silver hinges here on the wings. I mean, I guess in the end, I don't really care, but I'm not entirely sure if they should have been silver. Oh yeah, and look, you can even stick his mitts on his little controlly rods on his utility belt there. And that's because Batman has holy hands. It's a bit of a tight fit, but you can just take his hand and just get and you just bop, and it fits perfectly. And at this point, I am very curious to see how articulated this Batman's going to be with all this bulk on his back. Let's move the wings out of the way for a second, and let's just have a look-see doodle. Whoa! This is a Batman who can look more forward than like any other Batman in the history of McFarlane Toys. Look at that. Dude, wow. I guess they're making up for the fact he can't look back to save his life, though, on account of the great big plastic wings on his back. And then we have the shoulders. Now this armor does appear to be a softer-ish rubber. Oh, and, okay, well, you got a reasonable enough T-pose. He won't be doing the YMCA anytime soon, though. Nope, I eat my words. He actually probably could do the YMCA, because those little rubber shoulder pauldrons, those bat pauldrons, go right out of the way. Very cool. And do they have any... It's got a little bit of this kind, not a super large amount. And then how they've handled the lack of a bicep swivel with this figure, it seems to me is, I bet you they're going to have a rotating elbow. I know that it's single jointed like that. Doesn't quite get 90 degrees. That kind of stinks, but it does rotate. So that's... I think that's their answer to not having the double jointed elbows and no bicep swivel. I realize it's probably challenging to do all that with a figure that is this armored. I mean, I realize they could have done bicep swivels, but they probably would have had to go underneath this here shoulder armor here. I don't really know how they would do that effectively while keeping the full range of motion. And of course, we can see that there's a rounded hinge in Batman's wrist. And with both of them, it will be fairly a lot limited just because of the fact that the wrist here has this gauntlet. I broke his wing off. Now he'll never fly again. Also, I do think that Todd left up here black, right here above his gauntlet, and that probably should have been gray. So those of you who want it to be completely accurate color-wise may want to paint that. I'll probably just leave mine as is. I don't really care that much. It still looks good. Now, you wouldn't think it, but this guy does have waist articulation. It's just more below the belt. And I probably won't use that, like, ever. I just won't. I'll just use the torso articulation to turn him rather than down here below the belt. I'll just leave that as is. Down here, we have McFarlane's usual manner of attaching the legs to the body. Great big clickety-clack groin. You're going to find that these legs are only going to go up about that much because you have the big bat armor. And if you want a figure that looks like it's supposed to look, looks real, looks authentic to the comics, I don't really know how else you would do this. I mean, you're going to lose some of the motion, I would think. There is a lot of this motion here that's supposed to, in my opinion, be like an approximation of a thigh cut. And that's, you know, we don't always see that with McFarlane figures, so that's nice. Move his leg up, and let's have a little peek at his double jointies here. Woo! Well, they work. There is the black peg inside of the gray here. I probably would have opted to do this whole piece and the peg gray rather than black. Yeah, I definitely would have opted to do the whole thing gray, because it's not really needed for these knees to have been black. They could have been all gray. And let's face it, it's easier to match black than it is to match gray. So this would have been a much easier cover-up job with the paint. Personally, I'm actually starting to become more of a fan of the idea of, you know, pegless hinges where you can't see them at all whatsoever. Then we don't have this problem at all whatsoever. And finally, he's got a big rounded hinge in the ankle, and they have tried to provide for the articulation somewhat by, you know, leaving his boot up on both sides like that to provide some movement. Of course, there'll be a pivot, and as always, the toe. Oh, I forgot to see what his head gets. Well, clearly it's not going to be much, right? He looks down. Oh, that's more than expected. Whoa, look inside of his head there. Well, that's a thing. Does that mean he can look up? Oh my God! Oh my God! Ugh. I'm just gonna keep him like that. I'm not gonna have him looking up or down. Like this will be fine. Thank you. So, super fans, what do I think about this Batman? Well, he seems pretty cool to me. I would have compared him to the previous version from DC Direct, only I pilfered him for parts. At any rate, if this is just a one-off figure and Todd has no more plans to do Kingdom Come characters, then I would say this is a neat figure, but, you know, it also he needs friends. You gotta stand him on the shelf with at least a few of his buddies from that universe. But knowing Todd, this will not be the last Kingdom Come figure we're gonna see. But yeah, I like this guy. Fantastic looking figure. You can find him on McFarlane Toys website. And again, this review sample was provided compliments of McFarlane Toys. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it as usual, so I will see you with the next one. Take care and have a DC day, everybody. Bye-bye.